Hello. Hey, everyone. Happy early Halloween. I've come prepared, festive in my Halloween wear. So excited to be here. It's oh my gosh, nearly the end of October 2021. We are getting close, really, really close to the end of this year. And oh gosh, what a whirlwind of a year. If you know anything about me, you know I've had a baby. He just turned 4 months this week. So yay, KJ. That's what we call our prince. Super exciting. I recently had thyroid surgery, which most folks do not know about. So, your girl has been through it. It's been amazing, but living happy, blessed to be alive, blessed to be here. Really excited. My eye sometimes tears. I don't know if anyone else has that issue, but if so, put that in the comments. Sometimes from joy, sometimes I think from pure exhaustion, but nonetheless, c'est la vie. What are we talking about today? We're going to be talking about writing. So the power to write. There's another rendition or like type of I guess another printing of this book, but this is the copy that I have, and so this is the one we're going to go through. Power to Write. This is by Caroline Joy Adams. So let's get into it, guys. I like to stay on time and really focus on what we have to cover. So October Book Club, yay! Thank you for joining. My name is Natasha Nurse. Let's get through the content today. We're going to do a meet and greet, meaning you'll learn a little bit more about me, our book summary, kind of what I pull from Amazon, just to share with folks if they're like, what the frick is this book about? Key sections. This is usually my favorite part of the book club. This is where I read different things that really stuck out to me and kind of share a little bit of my thoughts on it. Quickly, we don't have a lot of time. Also, my writing tips. So I've been writing my entire life, really. And so, I definitely felt like this would be a good opportunity to share some tips that I have as a published author, as someone who, like I said, I've been writing books and poems since I was a child. I first had a poem published when I was a teenager, right? So just kind of, it's a wonderful, wonderful world of writing. And then, of course, encouraging y'all to join the book club and what comes next for next month. All right, so let's get started. Who am I? Natasha Nurse. I'm a DEI professional, so I love to be in the space of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Hello. Who doesn't? Thank you. And outside of that, what else do I do? So I'm also a coach, primarily focusing my coaching on media, career, and accountability. So you can learn all about like my coaching at dressingyourmate.com. Like I said, I've published multiple books by myself, with my husband, with other co-authors. So definitely, love writing, very passionate about it. I'm a podcaster, wokenfree.com. That's my podcast with hubby. Speaker, hello, events like this, on the stage, done them all, really fun stuff. And my life motto, learn something new and meet someone new every day. So if this intrigues you a little bit more, again, go to dressingroom8.com to learn more about me and all of that jazz, and then we can keep it moving. So Power to Write. According to Amazon, it's a writing workshop in a book. Writing teacher and artist, calligrapher Adams knows the tremendous power of the written word, and she has made it her mission to put into action her belief that everyone can experience and enjoy this power and the fruits of her or his own creativity. I completely agree with that kind of quote that I found on Amazon about this book, because it was a really interesting book. I've read other books about like how to write, but I did feel like it was framed in the context of teaching you how to write, and in a more innovative way, as well as really honing in on the different elements of what makes good writing, which I thought was really helpful. So in the key sections, I'll talk about kind of those different things that were highlighted that I really liked, and it can help me be a better writer, as well as I believe help you. So that's really fun. So let's get into key sections. So first one is about love. If you know anything about me, you know that I completely love love. I was that girl who definitely grew up watching films and television shows about love, and be still my heart. I am that gal that really does move me in meaningful ways. So let's get to this. Love. The Carolyn Joy Adams says, we all have potentially powerful stories deep within us, just waiting to be called forth, perhaps to be told aloud and then put into written word. words. Your storehouse of stories too flow from many years of life experience, your unique perspective and way of seeing the world, and your ability to access a wide range of feelings. So let's consider just a few of the possibilities. Let's start with love, right? Just like the rest of us, you've almost certainly had vast experience over the course of your lifetime with virtually everyone's number one interest, and that's love. And whether you know it now or not, you have a lot to say about this timeless topic. For love is the essence of life, and you've known many kinds of love in your lifetime, from romantic forms of love to the love between parent and child, siblings and friends. And if you've experienced deep struggles in any of these relationships, and haven't we all at times, you have a host of powerful memories to draw upon. For instance, you've probably been in love many more times than once, and then felt the agony of losing a love that you've been certain would last forever. You've probably also felt the ache of being away from a lover for what felt like an eternity, only to ultimately experience a happy reunion. Or you may have felt the supreme sadness of loving someone who doesn't love you back, unrequited love. Or who perhaps loves someone else, and you've been stung by the brutal needles of betrayal. But whatever your unique experiences of love have been, there is no doubt that some of your most powerful and poignant moments could become the catalyst for deeply moving, potent stories that nearly everyone can relate to. See how well written that is? So yeah, that is completely true. Personally, I'm a really big fan of unrequited love stories. Like Dawson's Creek is one of my favorite TV shows, and that storyline, that love triangle between Pacey and Joey and Dawson is just incredible. I knew she was always going to be with Pacey. Amazing. uh Team Pacey. Or if you're a Twilight fan, Jacob or Edward, right? That's a whole other conversation of being in love with multiple people at the same time. Oh my goodness. Contextually, that's a very interesting conversation given the type of world we live in today, with, polyamorous relationships. And it's just like, that's a whole other can of worms. But nonetheless, if you think about it, the amount of passion and preciseness that you can deliver in your writing is really interesting. So completely agree with the author there. I think that if you're looking to write more or to start a story, what would be a good place to start? Definitely something that most people experience, which is love. And to her point, actually, even if it's not love with a lover, but it's love with your child, right? Like having a son now, I obviously know what it's to be in love. I've been married for over 8 years, in a relationship for over 17 years with my husband, but the love that we share for our child is incredible, and it's overwhelming, and it takes you over, and it takes you to this whole new euphoric place of love that I couldn't even put words to it, much less to describe it. And it's the most remarkable feeling. So again, if I were thinking about writing something and I really wanted to be passionate, that would be a really great place to draw from as well, because that passion and that sweetness and that just yumminess that comes from the child, loving a child is amazing. So enough about love, right? This is nearly Halloween. We got to get spooky now. I don't think there was anything particularly spooky in the book that I read that I'm going to call upon to for discussion today. But again, it's nearly Halloween. Yay. How exciting. 3 points, page 24 to 25. And of course, I didn't mention it, but if you have the book, like if you happen to, that'd be really cool because you could follow along with me. So she goes into saying the following. Now, it's time for you to get started writing. Now, I invite you to get started writing. And as you proceed throughout this book with each of the writing practices, yes, there are practices in the book, please keep the following 3 points in mind. 1, consider this a 7-week course in more powerful writing. You may, if you like, consider the 7 chapters that make up this book to be a 7-week course in the art of writing more powerful, compelling, and complete true to life or fictional stories. If you choose to use the book in this way, you may want to take time once or twice a week to read through the material on each key and then work on each of the writing practices. And within a 7-week period, you will undoubtedly experience a dramatic improvement in your writing. It may help to consider each key and the suggested writing practices for each as a weekly assignment. However, please feel free to proceed in any time frame or in any way that works best for you. Just take it at whatever pace feels right. That take as much time for each writing practice as you wish, though you may want to allot 1.5 hour to 1 full hour at a time at first. Now, second point, write about topics that truly captivate you. If one topic among those suggested within each writing practice doesn't spark your creative flame, then find another that does, or write about anything else that comes to mind. The topic is nowhere near as important as your commitment to sitting down, getting pen to paper, or opening a brand new file on your computer and getting the words to start flowing. Number 3, write by hand or on a computer. Whichever way works best for you is fine. Though if you are used to doing most of your writing on a computer, it can be enormously useful to try writing by hand at times. So if you don't already do so, go get some lined notebooks and take them with you wherever you go. That way, whatever an interesting idea or thought or string of ideas comes to you, you'll be ready to capture it before it slips away from memory. So those were the 3 points that the author provided, to help you contextually understand how to work through the book. And I love that, right? Because it's clear. She gave you a rubric, like a loose rubric to follow, as well as saying the option of doing it how you want to do it, which makes sense for you, how you feel, is critically important as well, because right, with human psychology, it's really important for people to understand that they have choice and that they have options. But I felt like that made sense. So those were the 3 points as to how to address this book. And then there's this passage that I wanted to get through. I hope we have the time, just because I think it was delectable and delicious. And I'm not going to say any more about it. It's just called Just Friends. It's on pages 42 to 43. So here we go. I felt a queasiness in my stomach, a wave of guilt creeping over me, even before I picked up the phone and slowly dialed his number. As it rang 3 times, then 4, then 5, and my hope that he was home and would answer escalated. I swallowed hard and took a sip of the iced ginger ale that was settling, bubbling down in the tall blue glass I had just poured for myself. And I tried to reassure myself once again that these late night calls were totally innocent, that we were just talking. We were just friends anyway. But the truth was that my husband was away once more on one of his frequent week-long business trips, and I didn't miss him a bit. Instead, as usual, it felt freeing, fine, exhilarating to have this brief bit of time to myself. Even the bed at night felt so much more comfortable and spacious too, without his restless, hard-to-please presence. And though Jeremy and I had not yet crossed any boundaries that were truly dangerous, over steaming hot peppermint tea and bites of hot out of the oven fresh baked croissants, and a discussion of our dissertation topics at the nearby university bookstore cafe on a lovely, warm, misty April afternoon, not long ago, when the fragrance of lilacs filled the air about campus, we had already confessed our attraction for each other. And we both knew deep down that it was inexplicable, mysterious, and powerful, and went way beyond the physical, but that given the circumstances of our life, to act on it would be unthinkable indeed, unless some radical changes took place first, changes we weren't sure that either of us were willing or ready to make. Ugh, isn't that like so tantalizing? I read that and was like, oh my goodness. So, there's a lot that goes into writing about a love story, especially that unrequited love. Like I said, I think there's nothing more sexy and more tantalizing than when you can draw and create characters where people want to be together, but they can't be together because of life circumstances, whatever. I had to read it. I had to share it because I just thought it was delicious. I loved how it was written. I love that there was kind of a buildup and then a letdown and then a buildup at the end, right? So kind of she's getting through the like, husband's out of town, whatever, I'm free. And then the moments shared with this Jeremy character, and then kind of that letdown of like, well, they can't be together, but there is this possibility they aren't sure if they want to make the change. So there's that possibility, that ... right? The ellipses. And so, I just thought that was really good form of writing and really good story development and character development, because you would then want to say, like, I want to know more about this Jeremy character. Why is she so in love with him? What is he doing to rock her mind so? And then also, what's wrong with hubby? Why is he so like, just like, off to the side, right? Like, so I really thought that was a really good piece of kind of showing you what good writing and what a powerful, this is in key number 2, start your story with a powerful opening. Hell of a powerful opening there. All right. Now, feelings matter. I love that the author went into talking about how feelings is a really good source and place to draw from writing better with kind of the content you're putting out there. So why feelings matter. This is the key for this chapter, is key number 3, create an emotional journey for your reader. Feelings, whether in life or in writing, matter so enormously because we human beings, all of us without exception, are creatures of feeling. Feelings are the driving force underlying everything we do, all that we think, all that we want, all that we hope for, long for, or strive for, and all that we subsequently create of our lives. And we are always feeling something, usually a mix of different feelings, all at once. Indeed, whether we are conscious of them or not, most of us go through a huge range of feelings as we progress throughout each day, according to our mood, the people around us, the weather, our state of health, the circumstances we find ourselves in, and so much more. Feelings, then logical or not, are always within us, bubbling under the surface in great variety and abundance. When we take the time to read a story too, it's almost always because we are hoping to have an emotional experience, often one that will distract us from what we are already feeling. And we read because we want to change our emotional state. If we happen to be bored when we pick up a book or magazine, we may hope to get a rush of adrenaline by reading an exciting story. If we are agitated, annoyed, or angry, we'll look for something amusing, funny, perhaps spiritually uplifting to calm our emotional fires. Then again, if we are feeling sad, we may want to read something, whether it's dramatic or lighthearted, that will take our minds off our own troubles. Yet we rarely take the time to consider in life and in writing the many different feelings that can overtake us. Most of us are never taught to clearly identify the feelings we are immersed in at any given moment. This is one reason psychotherapists have such an important role to play in our society and have such a huge potential market. For the major focus of therapy is often to help adults sort through the feelings they were never allowed to identify or fully experience as children. But in any case, our job as writers is to consciously infuse the characters in our stories with feeling. I believe too that it can be helpful to develop an enhanced awareness of the great variety of feeling states that we might bring out in our characters. With this in mind, I offer you a list of 250 or so words that describe both negative and positive feeling states, ones that we all experience at times. And so she goes on and she has a list like right next to what I read, if you can see that, like a list of emotional states, right? So these are negative words: afraid, aggravated, agitated, despairing, despondent, detached, disaffected, disenchanted, disappointed. Then goes on to positive words: absorbed, adventurous, affection, appreciative, and animated, awestruck, blissful, breathless, buoyant, calm, carefree, charged up, complacent, right? Like all spellbound. Oh, I love that word. So super important there, because what is the author talking about there? So again, that's actually a really interesting thing that she brought up there, because it's not even just like use emotion and build that into the character development of your content, but it's also like, hey, guy, girl, or they, right? Or however you identify, there's a value to even kind of unpacking the emotional states you happen to be in. And guess what? You might actually be experiencing multiple emotions at once, because that's a part of the human experience. So, you can be happy and hungry and excited and pensive all at once, right? And so kind of how can you take that and replicate that into the writing that you're developing, right? When you're trying to create a story or to create something that attracts your reader, that makes your reader want more, you're going to have to really build it up. It's not just this blah, 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 which I find personally in my own writing, and I've talked to my husband about this as well, like that's, I think, the hardest part, because like sometimes as a communicator, I like to just like get straight to the shot. Like, I'm just like, okay, let's do this, right? And a lot of times people are like, Tosh, like, where's the lead in? Let's make our way down. And I'm like, no, I want to just get there. So, but we have to think about it from the reader's perspective, and we don't want to just get there, right? If we're writing a mystery, we have to actually have different sections that distract the reader, that make the reader go down this wrong path and then direct them back to the right path. And we're emotionally changing their states along the way. Very interesting stuff there. Now, the last section I wanted to cover is on page 85. It's 6 questions. So let me get that to you. All right. So the 6 questions, these are the questions that journalists who are attempting to include all the facts in a story usually ask themselves, but the questions can be just as useful when you're writing fiction or an interplay between fact and fiction, as is often the case in my own writing, and perhaps in yours too. The 6 questions are meant to help you determine what the main conflict of your story is, who your characters are, when your story takes place, where your story takes place, how the events that lead up to the story's beginning may have contributed to the drama of the opening scene, and why the story is worth telling, why the characters are driven to take the actions they are about to take. So why do I love these 6 questions? It's all about storytelling. That's what the author is speaking to. And that, guess what, is beyond just fictional writing. It is how we are better communicators. It is how we can be better storytellers. It is how, when you were to get on a stage, even, and we take this out of the context of writing and we take this as a speaker, what is the story you're telling? Right? Who are you? What do you do? Why should the audience care? How did you get started? And what are you talking about that's going to resonate for the day or for this segment, right? That storytelling is everything. Same thing. We take it out of the speaking context. We take it out of the writing context. Where else does it apply? Hey, looking for a job? What is the story you're telling? What type of candidate are you? Why should the employer want to hire you? What exactly about your story is matching with what the employer is looking for this role, for this company, right? Storytelling is everything. It's in every aspect. Oh, we need to find another way to make this make sense. Ooh, you happen to be dating. Cool. First date. Storytelling. What are you sharing about yourself that is making the person across from you or the people across from you, however you young kids are getting it down? To be honest, I'm not quite sure. It's so evolving, and I'm so happy for everyone who's experiencing their truth, and whatever that looks like, whatever form that looks like. I champion everyone to find their authentic truth and live the hell out of it. What are you telling these people, though? What are you saying, right? How are you when they say, my name is, or identify as? What does that mean to someone else, right? The who, what, when, where, why, and how is all necessary. So you see how that can play a role in any aspect of your life. We're talking about it, obviously, from the written word perspective, because if you are a writer, an author, it's super important for you to figure out the storytelling piece. But keep in mind, this affects other parts of your life. So my writing tips, definitely have worked on, I think, everything on this slide here. So let's get through it. So if you're trying to become a writer, like if I'm new to the space, I've never done it. Some things I would suggest, definitely journaling, right? It's good for the soul. It gives you those moments of reflection. As someone, for instance, I have a lot of more journaling I need to do, to be honest, because there's been a lot of change in my life, physically, emotionally, spiritually, right? Like everything. When you have a baby, your whole body changes. How you view yourself and envision yourself is changing. I need to kind of spend some time with that. Recently, like I said, I had thyroid surgery. I had a thyroid removed. So I, have a kind of a incision right in my throat, again, dealing with the reality of health issues and, beauty and self-image and all of that stuff, right? Like unpacking that, such a great place to do that in journaling. Another thing, if you're new to writing poetry, I'm a huge fan. If you're not, obviously, nix that from your list of things to do. But if you're open to it and you're open to kind of playing with words and maybe just picking a word and saying, okay, this is the word of the day, and writing a poem about it. So for instance, if I were to write a poem and I was trying to figure out content, I would say, like my son, right? And then I would start to pull up words or language that expresses what I'd want to say, like gratitude, love, immense bond, home, sweetness, caring, gentleness, I would say opportunity, I would say legacy, history, right? Like things, those are words would come to mind. And then I would start to string together sentences of what I would be wanting to manifest if I were going to write a poem about him. So that's another space. Now, if you are a little bit, and also another good thing you could do is blogging, but I would say that depending upon how you want to set up your blog, but all blogs go through evolutions, right? So whether you're new to the space of writing or not, blogging is also another really cool place to kind of get your feet wet when it comes to writing. Why? Because you start to build a brand for yourself, personally or professionally. Dressing Your Mate started, I think, going on like going to be 7 years soon, and started primarily with wanting to talk about fashion, and then kind of grew it to have it be a fashion and lifestyle blog. And I have a couple of contributors, and so we write everything from career to dressing to home to weddings, right? All that kind of stuff. And it's just a wonderful way to have, anything from 500 words and beyond to, or even 250 words, just depends on the blog post, of kind of expressionism, and also adding in other elements, right? You can add in videos and art, and you can add in sales elements in there. So really good space to kind of get started. I would say, how do you figure out what type of blog you want for yourself? go on a blog hunt, right? And identify a minimum of 20 blogs that speak to you. And that way, look at the format, look at what they're writing about, look at what's interesting to you, and then say to yourself, again, take some time back and then say, well, what if I were to do this, what am I passionate about, right? So the author's point, we really want to hone in on writing about things you're passionate about, because otherwise you will lose commitment to the writing. So if you're not passionate, you're not going to continue. So definitely making sure that whatever you write about, blog, journal, poetry, whatever, that you have some type of commitment and passion to it. And then, you know, doing the research as to which platform you want to do, who's going to host you, what type of style are you going with, what type of imagery you're embedding, and then booyah. Scripts. Now, for those of you here who are writing plays or writing movies, hello. This is definitely a space that where reading this book could help you, because I think that, you know, I've let's see, what have I written? I've written novels. I've written a fictional novel. I've written, obviously, kind of self-help, personal development books and things like that. I haven't, the fictional book, would I turn that into a play or movie? Possibly. It depends. You know, still kind of shifting through things I want to do. Hopefully a long journey ahead of me to see those things through. But yeah, you know, there's specific formatting that goes into a play versus a film. Definitely have worked with playwrights, and I've read through plays as well as a little bit of the movie screenplay stuff. But you know, you really want to make sure that you are following the standard format for the industry, and then you have read contextually other scripts in that space, so that you understand what other people are doing, and then you can put your spin on it, right? Because it's everyone is a unique unicorn. Yes, you're a unique unicorn. And so what's yours going to be about? What's the subject? What are you bringing to the table that people have never seen and they need to see today, and really take the hell out of it, and you know, make it a hitter, make it a blockbuster, right? All of that good jazz. And then essays are fun. Recently, I read, so if you're a fan of Mindy Kaling, I think it's Mindy Kaling from The Office, and then The Mindy Show, right? She's phenomenal. Shout out to Mindy. She had this like series on Amazon. I think it's about like 6 books. I have it on my recommendations page on dressingyourmate.com, where it's different like short stories essentially of different subjects, everything from like how her approach to her her spirituality as I believe as a Hindu, growing up that way, and then kind of how is she making sense for that in her household and her young child, and then also from like hanging out in Hollywood and like what's that scene like. Sounds, based on what Mindy says, sounds very interesting, very funny. I love her perspective and her curtness and her humor in her writing. I think she is a really masterful, funny writer. Not everyone's able to like master being funny in their writing. I think she's really good at that. So if you've never read anything by Mindy, definitely go to dressingyourmate.com, go to the My Recommendations page. You'll see all of her short stories there, as well as other books, that full-on books that she's written that I thought were brilliant. So definitely check that out. But different areas of writing: blogging, journals, essays, letters, right? Dear John letters, hopefully not too many of that. That's emotionally triggering, but you have the option of writing that, but also other types of letters, right? We have to write letters of recommendation for folks, for people who are looking for jobs and need referrals, right? So letters are another avenue as to where you can write and kind of express yourself, and you know, hopefully for those that you write, when it comes to recommendations, all good stuff, right? All good journeys, poetry, scripts, and beyond. So that's that. Now, why should you join the book club? Well, obviously you want to be friends with me. Hello, thanks. Just play with you. But no, I mean, I think we have a good time when I come on here every month, and you know, had to take a little break when I like literally had a whole human experience come out of me that was different. C-section, but wild nonetheless. Very wild. And I'm so back. I started back with having my lives in September, I believe. So this is the next one that I've done most recently. And so really, really fun on what's coming up next for the year. So I do it by month. You can't get the full Monty. Well, if you're in the book club on Facebook, then you'll actually see the invites for each of the months. So you will actually know what's coming up for 2022. It's a really interesting lineup. I'm really excited for the books that I've chosen for us to read as a book club. So definitely check that out and join. You can join the book club on dressingyourmate.com. this is what we're reading on for next month, The Morning Mind. Use your brain to master your day and supercharge your life. Look, guys, there's a lot that's going on in the world. We got to get our minds right, right? And as a mother, I will tell you, the kind of it's a lot, right? Trying to manage life and motherhood and friendships and love and all that is the human experience is quite overwhelming. So it's really important to find books and resources that help you kind of get on by. So if that doesn't compel you to join, I don't know what else will, but you're going to do it because I said so. So no, you're going to do it because you want to supercharge your brain and your life and, all that good jazz. All right. So dressing-a-roommate.com, join the book club, definitely subscribe to the blog, the monthly newsletter. And with that, that's pretty much the end of this show because you got things to do. I got things to do. I got a baby to go play with. We got food shopping. We got things to celebrate, figure out for Halloween, right? It's a lot going on this weekend, but I just want to thank you for those who joined. Thank you for watching on the if you watched it after the live, and if you have comments, please put them in. I'm always going to come in and make sure that I address questions and comments and all that good jazz. But it's been a pleasure. Happy Halloween, y'all. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe. Have a great weekend. And before you know it, we'll see each other soon. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.